Hey, good evening. Good evening. Happy Monday, everybody. This is Cindy Baker. I'm the ADHD coach for professionals, entrepreneurs, coaches, and I have created the 3P Power Plan. That is the group coaching program that I have, which helps people become positive, prepared, and productive. And so we are going to talk a little bit tonight about it's a subject that may sound kind of like a weird topic, but I think you're going to find it's pretty helpful. And that's about expectations, how to adjust to change and disappointment. So if you're watching live, say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, just say hashtag replay. Replay people, please keep commenting, put your ahas, your questions. I do go circle back and read those and comment. But we all have change that happens unexpectedly sometimes. And unexpected change, it causes anxiety for all of us. But it's worse, I think, for people who have ADHD because our brains have trouble switching gears. And I can remember having many misunderstandings in the past before I really realized this about myself, where maybe some boss or someone over me would think that I was not being complicit to their requests because it just was taking me a minute to switch gears. Like I was doing one thing and they asked me to do something else, and I would like hesitate and question. And it didn't have anything at all to do with a lack of submission to authority or anything like that. It's just that I had ADHD and my brain has trouble switching gears. We already feel overwhelmed by a world that won't stay still long enough for us to figure out what's going on. And when our plans get thwarted or we experience a disappointment, we can tend to get stuck. And what I mean by that is stuck in our mindset. We ruminate over the unfairness of the unexpected change that has been thrust upon us, right? And we all do that, right? We can't get out of our own head. We play the would have, could have, should have game, and we just keep going over it. We replay the past and our thoughts kind of start to spiral. And when we do that, we're stuck. We're not moving forward. So when our expectations are not met, we feel disappointment. And so just a couple of tips. I don't have all the answers for this. If I did, I would probably be retired and living on an island somewhere. But I do have some tips. And the first one is just to accept the disappointment. Accept that life is full of change. Go ahead and expect it. So then things won't, you won't always be so thrown off when something messes up your plans, because disappointment happens to everybody and it happened to you, right? So it kind of helps to normalize that situation. So go ahead and let yourself feel the hurt, experience it, vent to a friend, not a negative friend, and don't vent too long, just a little bit. If you do need to let those feelings out. If you suppress your feelings, it's like pushing a beach ball down under the water. Those feelings are going to eventually pop back up somewhere else. So don't stay there. But you do need to just accept the disappointment. You can even say to yourself, wow, this is really disappointing. This is not what I expected. I expected it to go a different way. Just acknowledge it. But then the next step is super important, and that is you have to turn the tables emotionally and reframe the situation. Instead of going down the rabbit hole of feeling sad and angry and depressed, think about the person or the situation that caused the disappointment, and put it into context. You can ask yourself, should I really feel this disappointed, or am I blowing this out of proportion? Is it that serious? You feel, and then you brush the feelings off, and you do it quickly. This is where people get trapped. They don't want to push their emotions down, but they don't know how to shut them off either. You've got to just learn that balance between letting yourself feel disappointment, but then quickly turning the corner and reframing. So the idea is to learn from it, right, and grow as a person. Reframing just means putting an objective frame around it. Separate the emotions from what's happened and get some of your personal power back by doing that. And I find sometimes it helps to journal that out. I'm also a person of prayer, and so I like to talk to God about stuff that I'm feeling disappointment about. Maybe read the Bible and get some insight there. But whatever works for you, journal it out, get it out of your head, and then change your self-talk. Instead of saying, this is the worst thing that can ever happen to me, just say, okay, this happened. Yeah, that wasn't that great. Now I need to figure out what my next steps are. So you immediately are turning a corner. You can't wallow in it, because you're not going to get anywhere in your life. Remember, you are not a disappointment. It's just a thing that happened, and it's not going to last forever. Your feelings will not feel that disappointed forever. So you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I adjust my course to avoid this disappointment in the future? In other words, what can I do differently next time? Don't take it personally, because it may be your fault, but it may not be your fault. Just depersonalize it. So what if something didn't go as you expected or wanted? You just have to pivot. You can't control other people. I wish I realized that when I was younger, but you can't control other people, but you can control your attitude. And there are a lot of circumstances you can't control as well. Examine the source. If it's some kind of interpersonal situation, talk to the person. And if they don't listen, reconsider your expectation of them. Maybe it's time to remove them from your life if that's possible. Remember, disappointment will never happen if you play it safe and never go out of your comfort zone. So if you are trying to move forward in your life, you're going to have some disappointment. If you're going to live fully, you have to go for it. And when you go for it, you're taking a risk. And when you're playing big and not playing small and safe, there are going to be some things that don't go as expected. And so you just have to kind of expect that. It's all about taking a risk. And maybe you need to change your expectations. Are you expecting perfection? A lot of people with ADHD are perfectionists. So if you get stuck in procrastination because you're afraid of being disappointed, then you are holding yourself back. So let go of that perfection. Learn to just be okay with things being good enough instead of perfect. So you're feeling the feeling, you're accepting the disappointment, you're reframing it, you're turning the corner, and focus on making positive steps forward. That'd be my third tip, because it's easy to focus on the negative, and that only makes disappointment feel worse. But it's just as easy to focus on the positive, and then you have instant happy feelings. And you have control over that. It may not feel like it, but you do have a way to switch your brain, which does affect your your thoughts affect your feelings. So focus on what you still have. Okay, so this one thing disappointed you, but gratitude goes a long way. I started last year writing 10 things I'm thankful for every day in a journal. And there are a couple of days that I get rushed and I skip it, but for the most part, it helps me to deal with disappointments, because I'm like, yeah, I had this disappointment, but I got these 10 things that I'm thankful for. And I try to switch it up, so it's a different list every time. And it could be big things, but it could also be really small things. And I try to just be creative, and think about all of the things that I have to be thankful for. So be careful who you hang around with, because people's attitudes do rub off. You want to avoid all the negative Nellies in your life. People's attitudes and habits are going to rub off on you, and they're going to influence you without you even being aware of it. So if you hang around complainers, you're going to absorb all their disappointment. I have been an educator for almost 20 years now, and there are some great teachers and they're super positive, but then I have been in situations where there were negative ones, because there's a lot of stress in that job and there's a lot of things to complain about. But I found myself getting sucked in and starting to agree with them. Yeah, it is terrible. That's not fair. And we're mistreated and all these things. And I had to separate myself from that. And one situation, it meant not eating lunch in the teacher lounge, because I just needed to not be around all that negativity. But it's like a vacuum. It's going to suck you into all their negativity. So be careful of complainers. Be careful of destructive comparisons. Social media is terrible. It's a great tool, but it's also one that can make you feel really bad about yourself. But instead, compare yourself with yourself. Okay. Where were you last year? Where are you this year? Celebrate your progress. That's what's going to help you. So when your plans are thwarted and you feel stuck, make a plan. Start small and take small steps forward. Once you start moving, it's easier to keep going in that direction, because you'll have momentum. And I encourage you, if you want some help with this, I have an awesome group coaching program, the 3P Power Plan. I am actively enrolling new members this summer. And so if you're watching this and you want to find out more information, just let me know. Send me a direct message, or you can email me at cindy@cindybakercoaching.com, and I'll give you the scoop on that. Also want you to save the date for June 21st. It's not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. I am doing a special live workshop. It's only $49. It's called Distraction to Action. And it's an interactive workshop. You got a workbook with it, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So look for the registration details to come soon, and save that date. It's the morning of June 21st. And so if you have any questions or comments or anything, put it in the chat. And if whatever platform you're on, just write it in the comments, because I do really enjoy going back and looking at what you guys are asking and what kind of topics you're interested in. So I hope this was some motivation for you. I hope you don't have a lot of disappointments this week, but if you do, you now have a strategy for how you're going to deal with it. So happy Monday. I'll see you next time. Bye.